15 essential tips for Elden Ring beginners. Tip 1. Choose the right keepsake. So at the beginning of the game when you pick your character, you'll be presented with options to pick a keepsake. The two that I would recommend considering are the Lands Between rune, which gives you 3,000 runes when you use it. It's a good way to get a nice chunk of early runes. You could level up sooner, you could buy useful items from the merchant, and it will give you a little bit of an edge in exploration, crafting, and boosting your stats. The other option would be the golden seed, which gives you an extra flask at the start, and that's especially useful for casters. You can get an extra flask for your mana, or FP as it's described in the game, or you can use it for Vigor. And speaking of which, at a grace site, you could go and allocate the flasks. And so if you want more health or more mana backup options, then you could do that when you rest at a grace site. That takes us to our next tip, which is follow the guidance of grace and fast travel. Use the yellow arrows on your map or the golden rays at the sites of grace to kind of point you in a direction. Once a grace site is found, you'll be able to fast travel back there by selecting it on your map. Tip 3, unlock leveling and get the horse. Activate sites of grace leading up to the gatefront ruins, and there you'll meet a new friend and you'll unlock the ability to level your character, and you'll also receive Torrent, which is your spectral steed, at the same time. Tip 4, return back to the Church of Ella after you unlock the leveling. You'll go to the church and meet a witch for a tool that will allow you to use summons and get your first summon. Tip 5, defeating enemy groups. Taking out groups of enemies in the open world restores some of your flasks. Tip 6, level your vigor. More vigor equals more health, and that equals more room for mistakes. It's kind of like adjusting the difficulty slider for yourself. Tip 7, damage stats versus upgrades. Early on, I would suggest maybe meeting the minimum stat requirements for the weapon of choice. Focus on upgrading your weapon using your smithing stones. That will give you a better damage output, and your stats can come later. Tip 8, your weapon choice. There are many viable options throughout the game, and so you might want to experiment a little bit here or look into other YouTube videos that show the different weapons that you can experience in the game. You got to find one with a moveset that you'll enjoy and also aligns with your stats. Tip 9, rolling and equip load. Rolling gives you a brief window of invincibility, iframes. Aim for a medium load, and that would provide you fast rolling and solid protection. Tip 10, explore thoroughly. Look for items like golden seeds, which allow you to have more flasks, or sacred tears, which give you better healing. There are tons of hidden treasures, so you're kind of rewarded for being curious and exploring the game. Speaking of which, I would recommend finding these essential items, which is our tip 11, the Whetblade. And this blade unlocks Ash of War customization and is found in the Gatefront ruins in an underground chest. The next essential item I would recommend in the starting area is called Margit's Shackle. It's found in Murkwater Cave and temporarily traps Margit during his fight. Tip 12 is crafting. The first merchant you run into is Kale, and Kale sells the crafting kit. Once you buy it, you'll be able to enter the crafting menu, and you'll be able to combine materials into items that you have recipes for. Special note is that cracked pots that you find throughout the world or in the game are reusable after your crafting. So you could stock up early on those and it would provide a consistent utility. Tip 13, talk to NPCs. Speak to everyone you meet until their dialogue starts repeating. Sometimes you're going to need to rest at a grave site and then return to the NPC to keep progressing their dialogue. NPCs can offer help in boss fights, they can provide items, or with quest lines. And so, for example, you may see like a yellow summoning sign when you're about to enter a boss room, and sometimes they're easy to miss. So be aware of your surroundings outside of a boss room because you might be able to summon someone to help you with the battle. Tip 14, read item descriptions. Item descriptions will often contain valuable lore and sometimes even give you gameplay hints. And the final tip is finding map fragments. Map fragment locations are marked on your map, and I would make those priority as you venture into new areas. Most of all, take your time, explore, and enjoy the journey. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.